Howdy y'all. Thank you for joining me today for this unboxing of a Kickstarter that I just borrowed from an old friend, and he's going to allow me to unbox it and check it out and see what it's all about. But this is The Witcher Old World. It is the all-in Kickstarter, so it is going to have 7 other things which we're going to unbox here a little bit at a time. So we'll go through it all little bits at a time to show you everything. So since this is going to be a long one, let's go ahead and take a look at this and see what it's all about and see what we got with The Witcher Old World here. This is a big box, as you can see. It says the game for 1 to 5 players, takes 90 to 150 minutes to play for ages 14 plus. From what I remember, I wanted to back this and I missed the Kickstarter because I was indecisive on it. But you can see here, it's got a ton of miniatures. And from what I get, it's supposed to be a deck building game with kind of moving around on a map, which kind of feels kind of like that worker placement stuff they've been doing with deck building lately. But in this case, from what I understand, it lets you move. Like, instead of just placing your worker, you need the things on your card in order to move from one spot to the other. But we'll take a look at that when we can see the board. But yeah, it shows everything here. It shows we got the gaming board, 5 Witcher miniatures, 28 monster miniatures, and then the player boards, and then all the other stuff. So let's take a look at this and see what it's all about. Like I said, this is an old bud's of mine, so we're going to check it out, see what it looks like. Okay. Well, I'm going to move this out of the way so we can take a closer look at this rule book and just see how it lays out and looks. So, pretty thick here, but we got the components just like you would expect, along with the game setup. Then we get into the gameplay, which looks like so it was like almost 20 pages, but if you look at each of these pages, it's not packed. As you can see, they have it very easily to read. Doesn't feel like you're reading through a textbook. It looks like it breaks down the phases through each of them, and then really a lot of it's just in the combat, and they're breaking down the combat little by little. So you could see most of the pages of the 20 were all just about the combat. And then there's like 4 pages that are about the solo. So, I mean, all in all, looks like they made it just very easy to read. We'll see if it's structured right or not. But, alright, let's get back to what's in the box. So we got a sheet here that's going to show how the trays go inside. It's nice when they do that. Then it shows what the deluxe edition added. Basically this to that, this to plastic, I'm assuming. And then instead of just these little hex cardboard, it's probably got the miniatures. Oh, it's double-sided here. And once again, same thing. Looks like instead of just cardboard, they went with plastic, I'm assuming, and into miniatures. Alright, we got the board here, so let me see if I can zoom out and show you the board. As you can see here, pretty big board. It is a 6-segment board, but you can see you're going to have the map where you're going to be moving around and doing things on, and then you're going to have your, because it's like I said, it's a deck building game, so if you want to understand, this is going to be the cards row that you can get cards from to add to your deck. And then this is where decks are going to go, from what I remember, as far as like the adventure decks and whatnot. And then there's going to be the 3 monsters and their terrains and where they're at. But it does look like it's got a legend here to kind of let you know what's going on there. Maybe the phases and whatnot. Very beautiful artwork. And looks like it's just, once you learn symbols, that a lot of this seems to make a lot more sense. So, let's get back into the game. So I'm not sure if this is all the cardboard that's already replaced and they just have it in here, or if this is extra stuff you're going to need. But you can see the cardboard punch outs here, and it's got a little swing, which the monsters we know are replaced. So might not be all of this is replaced by plastic, but at least some of it. Give you a closer look at some of those. All right, so we got the miniatures here. Try to pull these out quickly to show you each miniature. Let's do it 2 at a time. I think that will take too long to show you each of these. So we'll just try to pull out some of the more interesting ones. Because this video is already going to be super long enough just with the content. Because it's got all the expansions with it. And then we'll just, I think most of those, there may be some that look cooler, well, like that guy. Maybe I can pull him out. Since but you can see some cool looking miniatures to be sure. Next we got some more card trays in here. We got this tray here, which is showing, I'm assuming, it's probably hard to make out, and I have it upside down, but it's got the Witcher clans. Let's see if I can get a good backdrop on that. Probably still hard to make out, but it's got the Witcher clans on there, so I'm assuming that's each Witcher figurine, which we will pull each of them out and show them. This one looks like the bear one. Whereas this one looks like a snake. Okay. So depending on which clan you're playing, you'll get your own unique miniature. And then, I'm assuming so that you can know which color, which player is playing what, especially if you paint them. So those go on the bottom. Then we just have a bag of some wooden cubes. Right? There's one that's not a wooden cube, it's more of a hexagon, but... And from what I understand on these dice, there's going to be, you can gamble with these dice. So they have different sets. And from what I understand, you're going to gamble with them to make money or whatnot. So they just have the different, that way you can make sure that you don't get the dice mixed up, I'm guessing. They should be all the same though, right? So that you have the same odds. But that's what comes in that tray. And I already pulled this out, so let's go ahead and take a look at this. This should be our each individual clan board for the Witchers. And you can see here, these are dual layered. From what I understand, these are your stats, combat, defense, alchemy, and armor. And then your level. And then each person or each clan has their own unique abilities, which it's got all that information here. And this is your shields. And I notice it's dual layered on the back, where you're going to probably be sliding cards on the bottom here and here, on the bottom and top. And I also noticed we had those names, and it looks like, I'm not going to pop it off because I'm not sure, but it looks like they have where you could change the names out there. But I'm not going to pop this out just in case it's just something for preference, since it's not my game. But you can see that was the cat, or I'm sorry, I guess I could name them even though if you don't, just in case you don't see it. There's the School of the Bear. I was saying clans, but it's schools. This is School of the Cat. School of the Griffin. School of the Viper. And School of the Wolf. Alright. Next we just get into some cards, which these are, I was out of them at the shop, otherwise I would have brought a package to show you. You're going to be wanting to look for the 7 Wonders / Dixit cards, and I'll make sure I put a picture, card sleeves I should say, and I'll put a picture of where, of the package you're going to be looking for with the size over here. But we'll take a closer look at all these cards, that way you can see the artwork. We're not going to look at each of them, but we'll kind of flip through them. But that way you can see all these different cards. And as I was taking it out of camera, I didn't realize this little baggie was in there. But this is the plastic that they replaced for each clan. Where it's just, and I might see if he wants me to put a wash on these. As I'm just throwing them around apparently. But put a wash on these to where they kind of stick out a little bit. But it looks like you got your marker for each clan. And then they showed that this one was replaced also. Alright, there are a ton of cards in here, so I'll just try to go through them quickly just to show you the artwork and whatnot. Unless it's like a small deck that looks interesting, but we'll start off. We have the player aid for solo, I'm assuming. Well, it says solo. And then we have 5 player aids of these. So basically 5 of each of those. Next we'll just go into the one I probably will show all of them on. But we got the monsters here. And I don't know why they had these separated out. So there might be a reason, and I probably shouldn't have mixed them in. But just for ease sake, I kind of tried to put them all in one spot. But you can see the different monsters here, and I will show each of these. So it gave me the impression, the way these are, that it's going to let you know which ones to put in each. Now I noticed they're 1, 2, and 3, so it's probably going to be, that's probably why they were separated out. And I probably should have. But, yep, those are the monsters. The next smallest deck shows this back. I notice this shows the stats, 5th level. So it's probably when you hit 5th level in one of those stats, you can get one of these, which is going to make that a better skill. Now, I think these are the story decks, or the things that are going to be in those 3 spots. So it's going to be like your encounters, basically. So, yeah, just no way, because I'd have to pause on each of these for you to read those. But I'm assuming this is if you're in a city, you would have a city encounter, because it's showing a city backing on here. But just to give you a close look at what one of those looks like. So it looks like, from what I understand, it's like one of those games where if you have a city encounter, one of the other players is going to read this and you're going to make a choice. And depending on, because it says A and B, depending on what choice you make is what happens. And just like that showed the city, we have ones for, it looks like, the outdoors or the wilds. Then I just noticed these, which I'm assuming are not the adventures. Probably doesn't go over there. If I remember right, these are potions that you can get. And if you played the Witcher games, you probably recognize a lot of these potions. But they're basically just like a potion, a one-use thing that gives you something. And if I remember right, this is a deck that is meant for the bad guys. So when you're fighting one of the baddies or one of the monsters, one of the other players will take cards from these, and this makes up their combat deck. And it'll show, because if I remember right, they're going to choose whether they're attacking, or basically they're going to choose before looking. They're going to say they're doing the top or the bottom, and then flip over, and it's going to have, those are hits, or it's going to have some other stuff that, but it tells you what's going to happen to them, basically. And then I noticed a deck that is numbered. It started at 56. It is 1. So I'm assuming keep these in order. And these are going to be, it'll tell you to go get these numbers in certain situations. Because I noticed like this one has an equipment crossbow. But then this one, the number 2 card, has options. So maybe like a story mode type thing, something that tells you to go in the deck and go get those said cards. And then next, I think, are cards that are going to be a trophy or an ability. Because remember, it showed that there were cards that go on the bottom or the top. So maybe this is like your bottom ability. Because like this is the Wolf School. So I don't know if this is you choose one of these, which I'm assuming is what it is, or this is going to be a rando that you get for being in that school. And I'm only really showing a lot of this because this is the meat, this is the main game. But when we get to the expansions, I might, depending on how many cards come in each of those, show every card, even if it means being for a long video, just so that you can see if it's something you want to go out of your way to go get if you only got the base game. And then next, the majority of the cards had these. So like I said, it's a deck building game. So I'm assuming this is the cards and that you're going to be building into your deck. And I'm assuming, well, yeah, like these show 0, so I'm assuming these are your starting cards. And you can just see the artwork. From what I understand, they're used for the attack, which is up here. And then, like I was saying, you can move, like this one is showing you can move to a forest or watery area or mountain, I'm assuming. So that's a wild. Whereas this one you would have to use to move to a mountain. But since he shows 0, I'm assuming these are the starting cards. Because they, yeah, definitely, because they even have the faction symbol up in the right. So it's probably showing you each person's faction deck. And actually, now to think of it, I wonder, I'm betting each person's faction deck is different. So it's all the same, like you get 2 quick slashes, you get 2 rending blows, you get 2 pushes, 2 air arts. But what's different is the stat on the, or what it does on the left. And I'm assuming that's by the school. So each person having their own unique deck. Sounds very interesting to me. Definitely interests me a lot. Not only that worries me about that is, oh no, and then some people do have different cards. is the balance, but I'm sure this has been play tested and balanced out. So either way, pretty cool. Now these don't have the faction symbols on them, so I'm assuming these are the ones that will just be out there to be purchased. And just, you can see different stats and combos and things you can move on and whatnot. I know it's hard to make out because I'm not zoomed in, but yeah, just looks like typical deck building 101. Get better cards than what's in your starter deck. Alright, the next expansion we'll go into is the Skellig expansion. As you can see, it looks like it's going to add an extra board. But other than that, it looks like it's got more cards, more tokens, more stuff. But it basically looks like there's going to be an island you can go to that basically will have some more adventures and stuff. So let's check that out, see what it's all about. So we see right off the bat here, we got the rule book. Seems a little thin, but it probably should not have too much, hopefully, because it's just hopefully adding more stuff. Like it shows you, the new board will go off to the side there and let you know how to set up all that. It's called the Dagon track. Okay. And then about 4 pages. Then it just goes into examples, so seems good. Let you know how to mix these in. So, alright, we got some cardboard here, which we'll see if they replaced here. We have the extra board. Now I am curious if all this will fit inside of the main box. Probably not. When I looked, it seemed like once you sleeve up all those cards, unless they're going to add not many cards to these, I think each one, yeah, like I can already see here, just in this stack alone, that once you sleeve that up, I don't think you're going to be able to get all the expansions in one box, at least, but we do have an individual card here, which I will open up. But it is interesting that it looks like they give you maybe trays to go into the other boxes so that you can just mix in what you want and carry over what you want. Because now that I think of it, really if you get rid of that monsters tray and you just have the cardboard, you could probably fit everything into one if you just want to keep the main game together. So there's 3 of these ships and then one of this monster, so that you could basically put all the one game into one box, I'm betting, and then maybe find another way to carry your miniatures. I have other games I've had to do that with. Alright, let's go ahead and take a closer look at these cards, because I know this video is already long enough. Alright, these are the same size cards. I didn't mention on the other ones, these are, like I said, that while they're bigger, they are thick. They went with a very thick, nice card, and they have a nice linen finish on them. So I'm very happy with that. So even if you don't sleeve, but I do recommend deck building game, you want to sleeve. But even if you don't sleeve, these could probably take a good amount of use without showing a lot of damage. But deck building game, I would recommend fully sleeve. But we got these 5 cards. Like I said, I'll try to show each of these so that you know if it's something you want to add into your game or not. Now this just looks like the same type of deck where we had the outdoors and the city encounters. So I'm assuming this is the same thing, just the encounters on the new board. I'm not going to go through each of these because it looks like they're just going to look a lot of text the same, where you're going to have to make a choice and play out the encounter basically. And I'll just zoom in on one encounter there for you to be able to see. And then they have another deck, just like the other one that was numbered, but this one shows 30 to 1 with that boat symbol. So I'm assuming whatever tells you to go to get those or look at those. And I'll just flip through a few of these because most of them are just the text and choices there. So maybe it's like a campaign mode or the solo, the way it works or something. I don't know. Interesting, but there we go. Now I will say this before we move on to the next one. Like, it definitely shows room for sleeving. I just don't know if once you sleeve, you can get it into the other one. But like I said, I think, in my opinion, especially the way I saw that it laid things out, I'm betting if you remove the miniatures and just go with the cardboard, if you're wanting to take it for quick travel, you could probably, I bet they have this set up. I guess I should have looked at that sheet where it was showing how things go inside the box. But I bet in the way they have this set up, it's probably designed to make it to where you could carry it in one box if you're taking it somewhere. But then if you're at the house, you have your miniatures and access to them. Next, we're going to jump into the Legendary Hunt expansion, which just looks like it's going to just add in some more monsters, because it's not looking like it's an extra board or anything like that, so just more monsters. Let's take a look at that. So we got the rule book for this expansion. Oh, this rule book came in bent. Right, yeah. All right. But it looks like it's just like 2 or 3 pages. Tells you to just mix stuff in. And then it's just got the solo mode stuff. So, and it tells you here how to combine this expansion with all the other expansions. Some cardboard chits. I will show each of these monsters, since there's only a few of them. Alright. Take a closer look at the cards and stuff. First we have these way bigger cards. I'm not sure if I have sleeves for something like this. This is probably going to be something where you're going to need to go with Swan or something where it's a unique, different sleeve. So it doesn't look like it's just adding new monsters. These are probably legendary monsters that can appear on the board. And I have to say, these really are some good quality cards. I was watching a playthrough somewhat, and they almost look like plastic cards. Like, man, and it's because they look like plastic cards because they're so thick. But I like that. It makes it nice. Legendary monsters, I'm assuming this is their combat deck if you run into them. And not really sure what this is about, but maybe where they spawn at and how they travel around. That's just me guessing on the way the layout of the card looks. But it looks like each expansion doesn't add too much, which is cool. It adds just enough to add some variety and some difference. Oh, this one feels heavy, so it's probably going to have a bunch more cards in it, I'm assuming. But we have the Mages expansion here. And yeah, it looks like it's going to add a bunch more cards. Probably if you go the mage route. Oh, it looks like it's going to add a whole nother player. So instead of playing a witcher, it looks like you're going to play a mage. Okay. Seems interesting. We'll see where that goes on this. Because it says put the witchers in their place, learn the secrets of magic. Let you know everything that comes in this box right there. But we're going to open this up and see. Like I said, it felt pretty heavy, so I was like, oh man, this either has a lot of cards. I'm going to say a lot of cards because it's only heavy in one area, which would be where they have the cards probably, which I'm assuming is right in this area. But let's see. So we got the book here. And actually, it's not that thick because it's, yeah, so it's like, you know, all players decide to play as mages, or some, but not all players decide to play as mages. And how you mix that in. So I'm assuming we're probably going to have 5 schools of mages since it said all can play as mages. So these are probably those mage boards. And then, yeah, I'm assuming the mages would have to have a different deck because they wouldn't be doing the same stuff. So the mages probably pull from a different pool of cards. And then you can see the mages here. Because these also have the same, and I'll show when I get to the last one, as the Witchers had, where you're going to be putting a card, instead of with the Witchers it was here and here, now it's here and here. So, but 5 different new classes, or 5 schools, so that you could be a mage or a Witcher. And yep, makes me think this goes on the other side of the board, and this is where the mages would pull their cards from, or build their deck from, cards-wise. And then we have the different schools, or different miniatures for the 5 schools, along with their bases. And then we have, once again, some wooden cubes, with some of them being cylinders, kind of weird looking cylinders. And then, yeah, the plastic for each school. So this seems like an expansion that I would enjoy, because that just gives you more replayability. You're not playing the same school, even though it looks like each school is going to have 4 different routes for you to go. So now you're going 4 different routes. Now you can also play a mage, and you can go different routes on them, I'm assuming. So pretty cool. Figured they would have to have the different backs to make sure you're not accidentally mixing in Witcher stuff with the mage stuff. Okay, they had these separated, so I'm assuming these are the starter decks for the mages. And I'm assuming just like the Witcher stuff, each school's going to have their own unique deck for starting. But we also see some symbols that I didn't recognize in the other ones, but I could have just missed them. And it probably has to do with the mages and what they do. But you can see they got these backs here. And then we have a whole deck of cards to upgrade into their decks. Water Trap, Water Summoner, Fiery Wind, Ring of Fire, Armor of Enhancement, Summoning. So, I mean, you can see some spells, and so that you can build a deck if you're playing a mage. And then the last bits of the cards were these, which are going to be the different schools. I'll at least show each back differently on those. And then Was that school? Kikira, I think that said. It says Alzur. Ardea. And Othar. Alright. So that one was definitely very interesting. Definitely adds to if you're looking for replayability, because now you can play as a mage. Okay, let's get to some of the smaller stuff. Then the last box I have to open is called the Kickstarter exclusive. So we'll see all the Kickstarter exclusive stuff then. So this was a little baggy, I guess could have shown. It's just the metal coins. Comes with a dice pouch or coin pouch. And that's what the coins look like up close. They are the same on both sides, but cool. And just get some coins, which I'll just dump them in here. Next, we'll look at this Mounted Eridan expansion. Sounds like this is just another monster, another level 3 monster that can basically spawn. So it's going to give you the miniature. And then I'm assuming the monster's cards. Oh, I get it. It's all in different languages. So I'll just show front and back of that. And then they have them we saw this with Scarface, where the promo was designed so that it could be sold in any region or whatever language you have your game in. That way you don't have to worry about getting the promo for your language. You can just buy it and get this promo. Next, we're going to look at this one, the Monster Pack expansion. Basically, it sounds like it just adds 3 new monsters to the game. I'm wondering if this isn't the monsters that have to do with the mages, because it does mention mages here. So this is probably, just like the Witchers had their unique monsters, these are probably the ones that mages have to worry about in the world. But some cool looking miniatures for sure. Alright, it's got the little pack here. Actually, it's one for each expansion, it looks like. It says the Siren can be used with the Skellig expansion. And then Karen and Koshe. I don't know how to say those, but yeah, it just has you mix those in. So some more monsters. It's got the cardboard token. We get the cards. And I think it said, I guess, legendary ones. This was way heavier than I expected it to be. Here we go. We have the last thing. Probably the main thing you want to see is the Witcher Old World Kickstarter expansions. So these are the, I'm assuming, Kickstarter exclusive stuff. And let you know the Wild Hunt there, the Adventure Pack, the Monster Trail, the Lost Mount, and Ciri. And then let you know all the component stuff there that's Kickstarter stuff. And we're going to take a look at that stuff. Like, this is definitely the heaviest of the expansions, but it makes sense because it's probably going to be a lot of cards and stuff. So it says this is the Adventure Pack expansion, Siri expansion, and Lost Mount expansion. And I'm assuming these are just things that just mix in. Yep, setup changes. Cool. Then we have, it said 3 different rule books, so if that was 3 of them, then there's probably 1 more for each of these. They're probably bigger expansions. This one is the Monster Trail expansion. Sorry, I had that a little off camera. Monster Trail expansion. Then we have the Wild Hunt expansion. This one's way thicker. So there's the Wild Hunt. Some more chits of cardboard. Yeah, we got Siri here. It looks like another character. So we have 2 new character dashboards. Siri would make sense. I'm just not sure what the other one's all about. We'll see. Siri here. And then we have the School of the Manticore. And what did it say on Siri? Siri was Lady of Space and Time. And then we have another school, the School of Manticore. So you get a whole extra school with the Kickstarter, which would make sense. We get more of these, which are the wooden stuff, I'm assuming, for the Manticore and Siri. We get the plastic thing for standees, along with the plastic little chits for that. All right, let's take a closer look at these cards and get through this video, which I know is long. All right, first part of this, you can see the miniatures. Since this video is long enough, I'm just going to show you, and I'll pull out the one that's the joke one. The Lost Mount. There we go. And show you a few of these. Like I said, the miniatures are really good. They are really good. And apparently they give you a free card for the Witcher, or the Gwent game, which is another game of theirs. Let you know there everything about that. Alright, let's get these cards opened up. Okay, before I even get started in this, I can tell you right now, if you are a fan of this game, you're going to want to get this Kickstarter expansion box. The amount of stuff that it's adding to this game is ridiculous. So we're going to start off with that right off the bat. Alright, so let's get through this. Looks like some more legendary monsters. But I can't tell if it's just alternate, because some of these we've already seen, I swear. Yeah, we've definitely seen some of these. Or if it's just making all the monsters into legendary monsters. Because that's what they were talking about when they had these size cards. But these all look like the basic monsters from the game. So it looks like it's going to either make them all legendary or all act the same. Or maybe you could just make certain ones of them legendary. I mean, that's already going to give you some replayability there. And some cool stuff you can do there if you want a harder game, I'm assuming. Or maybe it's just making to where you could run into, because now I don't know, because that one shows level 1. I'm about to say I noticed level 3s on some of these. So I'm assuming it's just making the monsters with a little bit more variability. and then however the legendary monsters work. And like I said, I am going to go through all these to show you all the Kickstarter exclusive stuff. Of course, if we hit the stuff where it's like encounters, then yeah, I'm just going to show you. Which, like I said, when I saw that, the amount of encounters it adds, the replayability is ridiculous. So that's just my guess on these with the big monsters. And then they have these cards. I noticed that went by the number of players. Because it shows at the top 1, 2, and then numbers, of course, 3, 4, and 5. So, alright. That's what those added. Don't even know where to begin, so we're just going to start. There's these 2 cards. First time seeing those, so I'm not really sure what those are about. I did notice 5 new player aids, so I don't know if that's just adding the stuff from the expansion or what. Then we have a few cards that have new backs. This is a mutation, red, blue, green, which I do remember vaguely from the game, so apparently they're mixing in the mutations. And I don't want to mix these in because I don't know if he wants to play the game first before he does, but it looks like new mage cards. Now, there was only 5 of those, so not a lot of differences there. Then we have the new decks. Like this is the Manticore School. Or the new abilities, I'm assuming. And then if you're playing Siri. And I'm not sure if these just go in the deck and now there's some more variability to what the bad guys do. Because it is, if you'll notice, they got the white border around there. So I don't know if you play with this deck separate or what. There were these 2 cards. The Lost Mountain, the Troll. These have the back for the deck building, the same card backs. Now, I don't... Oh, yeah. I don't know why I didn't think about it. I could pull them out. Because we got... That's the Manticore School's starting deck. And I will show each of their starting cards briefly. And then we have Siri's starting deck. And then we just have, as you can see, new cards to be added to the deck. And these look kind of crazy, actually. Looks like insane stuff going on here. At least in comparison to what I was seeing on the other cards. Flipping through. Without having played the game, it might not be insane at all. It might just be, oh look, yeah, whatever. So a whole bunch of new cards for the main deck. Plus 2 more characters, you can't really fight that. Then I noticed these, which got me to thinking, oh yeah, what about bombs or something? Is there something on this card? No, I don't know what that was. Then there's these, which made me think of like bombs or something. Which I know was something, some other things, some explosive type things you could build. Now these I'm not going to go through one at a time, but you can see like this is that city encounter deck. It's adding this many cards to that city encounter deck. Like that's going to give you a wide variety of encounters you could hit. And the same with the, I guess, the wilds or whatever. I mean, the odds you hit the same encounters, that's just, to me alone, insane enough. And then I noticed these have the numbers on the back going up to that 57, where I think it left off at 56. So just more to that, whatever it is, the campaign or the story you're going to be doing. All the way up to 131. And then I noticed they were separate because I'm assuming a different expansion. So I kept them separate, but 132 through 137, just adding new cards there. And then we have, there's actually 4 of these cards. Here's 2 of them. And then we have another deck over here that's numbered 1 through 35. So if that's some type of story thing, it's pretty cool. Another like extra little story type thing that you can go through. And then the last but not least, there are these cards that are numbered 1 and 2, I noticed on the back. But they just look kind of like the encounter ones, so I don't know if they're just something that is set up like a first and second act within the game. But yeah, in my opinion, if you got just the base one and you were looking to add a bunch of stuff, I think this is the expansion to get that's going to add the most stuff to your game. Because as you can see, an insane amount of things added in just the Kickstarter expansion box. Well, this video was long enough. I'm going to try to edit it out as much as I can, but hopefully I didn't go too fastly through things and skip over other things, but I knew it was going to be a beast to unbox it all. I'm definitely very excited to check this out. I'm not a fan of the Witcher series in general, or I think it's okay. I think it's fun. I think it's cool. But I'll admit this unboxing made me want to jump into this game immediately and play it. So, cool. With that, I'll let you go because, like I said, been long enough. Thank you for watching and have a great day.